Mataji for opening their home to all of us. This process of Krishna consciousness is actually meant for bringing us out from the ignorance. This material world is characterized by ignorance. And when we say ignorance means there are so many universities, there are so many schools and colleges all over the world. So one may think, what ignorance we are talking about? In fact, with these statistics they say more literacy or the more number of people are educated in today's day and age, right? So how can we say we are more ignorant? This world is actually characterized by ignorance in the sense, if you ask any person, any learned, highly learned person, sir, what will happen after death? Where will we go after death? When the life is finished, where we go? What is our destiny? And people have no answer. People go blank. Oh, there's any life? After death, everything is finished, right? So unfortunately, there's not any official university. Even in today's day and age, there's no official university which actually teaches in this subject matter. There are universities which are teaching religion, studying different religions, but still there is no university which teaches spiritual principles or anything about the spirit soul. And this ignorance is actually the basis for committing the activities which are detrimental to one's own well-being, technically described as sinful activities. So what is sin? Sin is nothing but activities done in ignorance, thinking to be for one's well-being, but they bring adverse results. Say for example, children, many times the parents have to be always on guard, right? To see that children don't end up in some troublesome situation. Because children, they can walk into troublesome situations, right? If you have a swimming pool in your backyard, and if you don't have any, guard or any railing around it, you leave your child, no matter how small the child may be, as long as the child can crawl or walk, you know for sure where the child will go, right? You simply walk into the trouble. I mean, of course, after coming here, we saw that even these electric points, they are perfectly designed to be reachable for all the children. At least in India, they used to be on higher scale, right? Children can't reach it. But here they have everything in the reach of children, so you have to keep it covered also. Because children will find something to put, somehow that they will find some pin or something to put inside and get into trouble, right? So, ignorance. Because we don't know where I'm walking into. It could actually lead me into troublesome situation. And this is exactly the situation with not only children, but practically everyone in today's day and age. Because people are not educated in spiritual principles. They don't have any knowledge about spirit, karma, how we are entangled in this material world. They very easily walk into troublesome situations. And I can give dozens and dozens of examples. Say for example, many people call me for the guidance on Vastu principles. So many times people end up in buying a home and then they say, can you just check the Vastu of my home? Because after moving into this home, we have started feeling so many problems. So then they want to check. So we actually walk into so many situations in life because we don't have knowledge, because we don't have any understanding of what we are doing or where we are walking into. Without our knowledge, though we don't want to be, but we end up in being in a troublesome situation. And this world is designed in such a way. Srila Prabhupada quotes, Loke bahvaya amisha mad sevaya. Living entities in the material world, they are naturally inclined to engage in activities which are actually meant for which are actually detrimental for their well-being. Naturally. So if a person doesn't go to college or school or university, not to speak of going to college, not going, but even if after going to college or university, like I especially remember driving, right? We all drive here. Especially in India, you never had to even give driving test or anything. You could just get the license. Sitting at home, you could get it. But here, they go through so much education. They actually make you study theory, then actually take proper exam from you, and then, you actually do the practical test. And in spite of that, you see, whether the speed limit is 55, naturally people want to go on 75. It's not that they are accustomed to drive at 75. If the speed limit is 75, they'll go at 95. Right? So, that is inbuilt, naturally inbuilt in everyone. To act or to engage in activities which are actually meant to be for our, not for our well-being, which are actually meant for, or which are actually detrimental for our well-being. It's a natural, you can say, programming done in everyone. We want to act, this world is designed in such a way that we want to act in a way that is actually detrimental for our well-being. And the root cause is ignorance. Janmashtami is coming soon. So, there are many beautiful pastimes, very instructive. When Lord Krishna, he was performing his pastimes 5,000 years ago, when he appeared in this world, he was performing so many beautiful pastimes to instruct us. Of course, pastimes of the Lord are actually to enliven. Every time you hear, you feel uplifted. But whenever the Lord performs any pastimes, he imparts many, many lessons, wonderful lessons through his activities. So one such incident is recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna, when he was just 5-year-old, as a small baby boy, it was almost when he was 4-year-old, he started insisting to Nanda Maharaj that I want to also take care of the cows. Nanda Maharaj said, no, you don't need to. But he insisted, no, I want to. So then Nanda Maharaj gave calves, the small baby cows, the calves under the care of Krishna. So Krishna would go every day with his friends the cowherd boys who are of the same age, almost like 4 or 5 years old, they started going to forest every day, taking the calves with them. So when we think how small children of 5 years age, they could, or 4 or 5 years age, they could actually herd the calves. No, they could. So, Krishna, along with his friends, they started going to forest every day, taking the calves with them. And one day Krishna decided, there was almost like Krishna was at the age of 5. Yes, Prabhu? So they one day Krishna decided that they would go to the forest and have picnic there with his friends. So he told all the friends, tomorrow morning we will go for a picnic. Picnic means we will not take breakfast at home, we'll take the breakfast and lunch also with us and go to the forest. Okay. Generally they used to take only lunch with them, but he said next day we'll take breakfast also in the forest. So we'll go for a picnic. So, you see, when you go to Tirupati, Krishna is, the devotees, they get up early in the morning and they go and wake up Krishna. There's a stotram, they sing every day, Suprabhatam, Suprabhatam stotram, they sing every day, and that's how they wake up the Lord. And this day, Krishna woke up before everyone else. He got up before everyone else and he started blowing the bugle. Bugle is like a horn which is made from buffalo horns or cow's horns. So he started blowing that and calling all his friends. So Krishna started waking up all his friends. All the friends, they already had made the plan that next morning they are going to go. And the mothers also, they had prepared everything in a way that next day children are going to go early in the morning. So, as soon as children got up, their mothers decorated them nicely. They took bathing and all, and they were decorated with nice, pearls, gunjas and golden necklaces. And they all came out. Thousands and thousands of cowherd boys. In fact, and each cowherd boy was having the group of calves. Each group was consisting of thousands and thousands of calves. So you can imagine, early in the morning, the cowherd boys, so many in number, they're coming out. And in front of each cowherd boy, there were thousands of calves, not the cows, but calves, small calves. And Krishna had asankhya. Sankhya means you can count, and asankhya means which is not possible to count only. In Sanskrit, there is a definition to asankhya. What is actually entitled as asankhya? Though it's called asankhya, but it has also sankhya. It also has some number. So in front of 1, when you put 17 zeros, that number is called asankhya. So Krishna had asankhya calves. So one may think, how can so many calves fit in? Because if you go to Vrindavan, it is only 36 square miles. So how so many calves that Krishna alone had, and cowherd boys had their thousands of calves, how can so many animals fit in this 36 square miles? So, if anyone here says, see, this is all mythology. This has no reality. It doesn't make any sense. How can so many animals fit in just 36 square miles? But before we actually come to 10th canto, we understand Parasa Shaktir Vividheva Shruyate. The Supreme Lord has unlimited energies or potencies and inconceivable potencies. Inconceivable means what? That you cannot understand with your limited intelligence. Now, we think, oh, something like magical powers. Srila Vishnu Thakur actually gives a beautiful example in this regard, that how the Supreme Lord has inconceivable powers. And this is the real incidents that he quotes. So, in ancient time, the kings used to, have real performance. They will not watch movies. There were no movies there, right? So they will watch dramas or they will watch magic shows, real magic shows. So one king, and this is a real instance Vishnu Thakur is quoting, that one king, one day in his court, was invited, he invited one of the magicians. So magician came with his family, with his wife and 2 children, 1 son and 2 sons, So he came and he performed very nice magic. So many magical tricks he performed. And the king was very happy. He took out the precious necklace from his neck and gave it as a gift, along with other gifts also, but he gave that as a gift to the magician. So magician, he took that necklace and he gave it to one of his sons. The other son, they started pulling. No, I want, and they started fighting. So among the magic paraphernalia were swords. So one of the boy, he took the sword. Other boys also took the sword. He said, if you don't give me, I'll kill you. And the boys, they took the sword and stabbed each other. And both the boys died. So seeing this, the wife of the magician, she became so, started weeping and crying. She was shocked. So she took the sword and killed herself. And the magician, he was shocked. What is this? In a moment, my family is finished. So he took the sword and he killed himself also. So the king everybody in the court was actually, was shocked. Within a moment, the whole family is finished. So anyway, the king performed the last rites of the whole family. Their bodies were taken and, cremated, properly burned. And after 2 days, the king receives a letter. The letter from the magician. He says, my dear king, how did you like my performance? Especially the last performance of our family being killed. And after another 2 days, the magician came with the family, with his wife and 2 sons, to receive the gift from the king. And this is real life magic show. How that could be possible, right? Vishnu Thakur is quoting this real life example that ordinary magician in this world can have some magic like this. So what to speak of God? God has unlimited powers, unlimited inconceivable magical powers, which is called Achintya Shakti. So, the Lord has unlimited inconceivable potencies and He can do whatever He wants to. He can actually fit all those animals and much, much more in His Dham, because His Dham is also inconceivable. Unlimited, inconceivable. So Krishna can fit unlimited number of cows in apparently a limited space. In Mahabharata, there is another description of Krishna's inconceivable powers. So certain dimensions are given. Dimensions I don't recollect, but I'll just give an example. So the Dwarka's dimension is given. Say, for example, we say 100 square miles. Okay, it's not 100 square miles, less than 100. But I'll say, for example, it's given. Dimension is given. The Dwarka's dimension is, so many miles by so many miles, square miles. And then the dimension of the palace, each and every palace within Dwarka city is given. Krishna had 16,108 queens, and each queen had a separate palace. Okay. And the dimension of each palace is much, much bigger than the city of Dwarka. And there are 16,108 such palaces within the city of Dwarka. So somebody will see, this is all bogus. This is all mythology. How can this be possible? But Krishna is achintya. The very word achintya, if you take in Sanskrit, is actually means beyond our scope of our understanding. How that could be possible. That's called achintya. So Krishna, he's going with his cowherd boys with so many animals. And though the cowherd boys, they were decorated nicely by their mothers, with so many beautiful jewelry. When they reached in the forest, they all started decorating themselves with leaves, different flowers and fruits, and the peacock feathers and the minerals from the forest, the different colors of clays. They would take and make dots on all over their face. And then they would start playing. Because that was the picnic day. So they used to practically every day play. And not only that picnic day, but every day, Krishna, along with his friend, they would go to forest. The calves will be eating the grass all around, and the boys would simply play. So all the boys were playing. They would try to imitate. They would try to imitate making the sound of different creatures. Like some boys would make the sound of bees. The bees makes a sound, right? So they would make the sound like that. Some would make the sound of cuckoos. So they would make the sound of cuckoos, and then they would imitate. They would try to run behind the shadow of the birds. The bird would fly in the sky, but their shadow would fall in the ground, so they would try to follow the shadow as if they are, flying with the hands, like this. They would just try to fly following the shadow of the birds. Some boys would go and sit beside the monkeys, like the monkeys, and try to make the gestures, different gestures like the monkeys do, And so in this way, they would try to make, so many imitations. Some boys, they would just go by the riverside and watch the frogs. And when they would go near the frog would jump out of the fear. They would also jump behind the frog in the water. Just like the frog. They would see their shadow in the water and they would start laughing. Sometimes they would go to an empty well or some cave and loudly shout, and the echo would come, and they would call the echo with the ill names. It's like, Are? And the echo would come, Are? And then say, Who are you? The sound will come, Who are you? Looks like you're going to die at my hands. Looks like you're going to die at my hands. So in this way, they would actually, call their echoes with ill names. So in this way, the boys were actually playing with Krishna very happily. That time, one of the Anuchara, one of the followers of Kamsa, his name was Agha. Agha actually in Sanskrit means sins. I don't know how his parents must have named him Agha. And he had two siblings as well, Baka and Putana. His elder brother was Baka. He was Bakasur. And his elder sister was Putana. So he was Anuj. He was like the younger brother of Putana and Baka. Bakanuja. Like we have Ramanuja, he was Bakanuja. So, and of course, not only his name was Agha, but his actions were also equally befitting to his names. Therefore, he was Maha Asura. He was actually named as Aghasura. By name, he was Agha. By actions, he was Asura. He was a demon. And he was a follower of Kamsa. So he came to Vrindavan and he saw Krishna and all the cowherd boys playing. He couldn't tolerate. He started boiling within. This is the nature. People who are demonic, they cannot see others happy. When they see somebody happy, they start, becoming very restless inside. Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually explains in his song, the nature of people in this world is parasukhe dukkhi and paradukha sukhakar. Paradukhe sukhi means when a person sees somebody else as unhappy, he feels happy. And parasukha dukhakar. And if somebody sees somebody else is happy, become unhappy, and if somebody else is unhappy, you feel happy. So this is the nature of demonic living entity. So Aghasura, he couldn't tolerate. Krishna was so happy with his friends. So he started thinking, here is Krishna. He has killed my brother Bakasur and my sister Putana. It's not that Krishna went to kill Bakasur and Putana. They came to Vrindavan. Krishna was not going looking for them. Bakasur came to kill Krishna. He swallowed Krishna and Krishna killed him by bifurcating his beak and killed him. Similarly, when Krishna was just 15 days old baby, newborn baby, Putana came to kill him. So Krishna didn't go looking for them. They came to kill Krishna and Krishna killed them. As Krishna says in Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante. As people approach me, I reciprocate accordingly. So they came to kill him and Krishna killed them in return. So Bakasura is thinking, Krishna has killed my brother and sister, so I must kill him. And once I kill Krishna, then only I'll be free from my debt to my brother and sisters, whom Krishna has killed. I'm indebted to my brother and sisters, so I'll be free from their debt only by killing Krishna and all these cowherd boys. If somehow that I can make Krishna and all his friends, like, Tilanjali, Tilanjali we say, offering water and sesame seeds to your ancestors. So I want to offer Krishna and his friends as Tila and Jala. Like offering Pinda or Shraddha, I'll offer Krishna and all his friends, their dead bodies, in the Shraddha to my brother and sister. So thinking like this, he assumed a very huge, very long and very huge form of a python. How long he was? He was 1 yojana, 8 miles long python. And not only 8 miles long, he was very huge in the height. The description is given in Bhagavatam. How huge he was. The python has mouth, so begin the description with the mouth. So his lower lip was touching the ground and his upper lip was touching the clouds in the sky. He sat down with the open mouth like this. So his lower lips are touching the ground and upper lips are practically touching the clouds. And of course, boys came early in the morning, right? So they are seeing the upper lip of Aghasura is shining because lip is supposed to be red, right? So Aghasura's lip was also a little reddish. So the boys thought maybe the clouds are being, touched by the sun rays, early morning sun rays, therefore they're appearing to be like little reddish. So they came because before they never saw that. They thought, we never came this side of forest of Vrindavan. And there's a beautiful mountain cave here. His mouth appeared like a cave. And he had rolled his tongue, straight on the path. It appeared like a nicely built road leading inside the cave. So the boys, they started observing, oh, we never came this side. This looks so beautiful. In a very scenic place in Vrindavan. Just appropriate for our playing. No? So some of the boys, they observed, because there were thousands of boys, right? Some boys were behind. So they're observing, he looks like exactly in the shape of a python. So they say, wait. Looks like it's a python. You see, his lower lip is touching the ground. His upper lip is actually touching the clouds. Looks like a very huge python. He has come here to devour, to swallow all of us. You see his eyes, they appear like, some forest fire is burning in the mountain caves up. And you see, when we go near the mountain cave, the mouth of the mountain cave, the hot breeze is coming from inside. So you see this whole road which is built going inside the cave is actually his tongue. His lower lip is touching the ground. The upper lip is actually, which appears to be clouds, is actually his upper lip. And you see these, on the two sides, you see the curvature. They are actually the surrounding area of the mouth of the python. Which appears to be like the mouth of the cave. And you see there's so much dark inside the cave. That is his mouth. And you see these big mountain peaks inside the cave. They are actually his teeth. And the hot breeze that is coming from inside the cave is actually his breathing. And you see his breathing is actually filled with fishy smell because he has eaten so many dead bodies. Therefore, from his intestine, the fishy smell is coming. So it is actually a real python. And other boys, they start laughing. What? Real python? It looks like a real python. Maybe the God has created like this. It's not real. It is all statue. And some boy said, even if he's real, you know what happened to Bakasur? They especially take the name of Bakasur. You know what happened to Bakasur? Same thing will happen to him also if he tries to swallow us. You see, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya chaham hridi sanvishto. Mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So boys perfectly felt inspired by Krishna to speak the name of Bakasur, because the brother of Bakasur has come. So make him more angry and agitated. And Shukadeva Goswami says, the boy was telling, see, Bakari is here. He will kill him if he is a real python. So they started clapping. They were clapping, thinking that if it's a real python, he will blink at least eyes, or he'll get scared and run away, right? When you clap in front of snake, the snake will get scared and run away, right? So they were clapping, all of them, some thousands of boys just clapping, you can imagine. And they were smiling, walking into the mouth of Aghasur, but looking behind. Krishna was standing a little far. Krishna was watching all of this, hearing all the boys discussing with each other. And Krishna wanted to actually tell them, stop, this is actually a real python. But before Krishna could tell them, they all very quickly walked into the mouth of Aghasur, looking at the face of Krishna. They were looking behind at the face of Krishna. Krishna, come, quickly. And before Krishna could actually stop them, they were all in the mouth of Aghasur. Now, Vaishnava Acharyas explain this particular instance, what we were discussing in the beginning. Aghasur, the boys are entering into the mouth of Agha. Agha means sins. So they are walking into the mouth of Agha, means the sins, and they are very happily walking into the mouth of Aghasur. They don't even realize that they are actually going into the troublesome situation. Of course, these are parikars, they are the associates of the Lord. They can, never be covered by sins. But they are walking into the mouth of Agha and they are becoming covered by Aghasura, covered by sins. The Lord's associate can never be covered by sins, but this is instruction for all of us. In the material world, many times we walk into the situations happily without our knowledge where that will lead us. The boys, they could actually, some of the boys, they realized that this seems to be like a real python, right? But still, other boys said, you are just too afraid. This is not real python. This is just a statue. And even if he is, Krishna will take care of him. So, sometimes living entities in this world, without their knowledge, without their desire, walk into troublesome situations. Walk into the mouth of Agha. But it's also very instructive. Because all the cowherd boys, they were looking at Krishna. They entered into the Aghasura's mouth looking at the face of Krishna. In perfect Krishna consciousness, they entered into the mouth of Aghasura. So similarly, even in this world, if sometimes we unknowingly enter into troublesome situation, but if we are Krishna conscious, if we are remembering Krishna all the time, and how do we remember Krishna all the time? By chanting. That's the easiest process in this age of Kali Yuga. By uttering the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So simply by uttering the name of Krishna, we can become Krishna conscious. And Srila Prabhupada actually taught that that's the easiest way to become Krishna conscious all the time. And when we don't know which moment, which actions of ours will put us into the mouth of Aghasura, right? We really don't know. You may be, sometime thinking that, this is a happy event. But you don't know what is ahead of it. Sometimes people get married thinking, this is a happy event. They don't know what will lead them to. And especially, I have experienced a lot of people, when they buy a home, they think, this is a nice home I'm entering into. But then they call me, Prabhu, can you look into our Vastu? The problem here. So, sometimes we don't realize what actions will actually lead us to troublesome situation. No. But if we are Krishna conscious, Krishna will always protect us. There was one disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He lives in Mumbai. His name is Haridas Prabhu. So he was once sharing. Haridas Prabhu, he was actually born in a Muslim family. And, at a very young age, he lost his parents. So he was without any protection. So he, just to maintain himself, became a thief. He used to steal, and many times get caught and put into jail. So that's how he used to live his life. So one time when he was in a jail in Nasik, say he was getting released from the jail, and in the garbage bin, he found one Back to Godhead magazine. So he picked up the magazine. In the front page of that magazine, he saw Srila Prabhupada's picture. Prabhupada was giving lecture and he was wearing a golden watch, wristwatch. So he's a thief. He thought, wow, this is a beautiful watch. I want to steal this. So in the picture of Srila Prabhupada, he saw the watch and he decided, I want to steal this. So he turned the pages and found the address. Oh, this temple is in Mumbai. So he came to Mumbai from Nasik and directly went to temple. And by reading magazine, he understood, you can just go to temple and say, I want to become devotee. So he went to temple, he said, I want to become devotee. And just imagine if you have a temple and somebody walks in, I want to become devotee. You feel, so happy, right? Come. So they welcomed him. Yeah, come. And mostly in Jew those days, the devotees who used to live were all either from America or Europe. They didn't know Hindi language. So they used to live there and they had difficulty in so many communications, right? If they want to buy or go for shopping, they had difficulty. We found, okay, here is somebody who can actually help us. So he was, kept in the temple. And of course, later on, by the association of devotees, he actually became a nice devotee. He got initiated by Srila Prabhupada. He gave up his stealing habits and he became nice devotee. It's actually a beautiful story, but I won't go into the details, But in mid-70s, around in I think 74, Prabhupada wanted to give him sannyas. So a lot of Prabhupada disciples, Tamal Krishna Maharaj and others, they oppose. They say, no, Prabhupada, you shouldn't give him sannyas. No, he's, not fit person for sannyas and all. So Haridas Prabhu was saying, he was very excited that Prabhupada gave him sannyas. And he was getting ready. He prepared his danda also. But Tamal Krishna Maharaj and other devotees said, no, Prabhupada, you shouldn't give. Then Prabhupada said, okay. Prabhupada didn't give him sannyas. So 2 years went by. Haridas was serving so nicely. He won the hearts of all the devotees. And it was around in 76. All the devotees were like, Prabhupada, you should give him sannyas and let him travel all over the world and preach. And Prabhupada said, no, I will not give him sannyas. Because by this time, Haridas Prabhu started producing Krishna conscious movies. One of the very famous movie he made was Haridas Thakur, on the life of Haridas Thakur. So Prabhupada told, no. And all devotees were insisting, Prabhupada, you should give him sannyas. And Haridas Prabhu also prepared, his danda and everything. Prabhupada said, no. And he called Haridas. He told him, Haridas, after my departure, a lot of things will happen in your life. But remember 2 instructions of mine. He said, 1, you should come every day to Radha Rasbihari temple, Mumbai. That's where he used to live. He said, you should come in front of Radha Rasbihari every single day. And every day you should chant your 16 rounds. He was doing it. He was living in the temple and he was chanting 16 rounds. Prabhupada told him, every single day of your life you should take darshan of Radha Rasbihari and chant 16 rounds. And Krishna will protect you. So 77 Prabhupada departed from this world. And around 78, Haridas Prabhu, he actually drifted away from Krishna consciousness. 78, 79, he drifted away. He actually started drinking. He started associating with women. illicit sex. And he remembered Prabhupada's 2 instructions still. Every day he would come to Juhu temple and he would chant his 16 rounds every day. So he kind of walked into the mouth of Agha. That's why he was explaining that he actually, became completely covered in sinful activities. That was his life. He was making so many movies, non-Krishna conscious movies, and how if you go to movie industry, you are surrounded by glamour and you easily get pulled into sinful life. That's what he was doing for many, many years. But 1996, he actually gave up all those movie business and all, and he came back to ISKCON. And then he started he's actually founded ISKCON Television. We have ISKCON Television where a lot of nice programs are conducted. He's the producer and director for ISKCON Television. So, even though the cowherd boys, they walked into the mouth of Agha, but because they were looking at the face of Krishna, they entered in perfect Krishna consciousness. Krishna got pulled by all the cowherd boys. So Aghasura, when he saw all the boys have entered, but Krishna had not entered yet, so he did not close his mouth. He still kept his mouth open. And Krishna, he ran behind his cowherd boyfriends. Because Krishna loves his friends, his devotees. So Krishna, without second thought, he ran into the mouth. He was not just walking or thinking in twice whether should I go or not. They are gone, it's okay, let them go. No. Krishna ran in the mouth of Aghasur. And as he ran into the mouth of Aghasur, then Aghasur closed his mouth. And when he was closing his mouth, Krishna could hear the demigods who were watching from the clouds, this whole drama, they started saying, hi, 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 hi. Krishna also entered the mouth of Aghasur. They became very much worried because all the devatas, although they are devata, they are powerful beings and they used to drink nectar every day. They were so fearful of this Aghasura demon. They were thinking when this demon is going to die. Now just imagine if you are drinking nectar every day, that means you cannot die. What fear you should have? Who can do anything to you? But still the demigods, when they saw Aghasur, they would feel fearful of Aghasur. Kab marega ye? So, but on other hand, the cowherd boys, they entered in the mouth of Aghasur very confidently. They were not afraid of Aghasur. Some of them realized, oh, this could be a python. They say, let it python. Krishna will take care of him. They were not fearful at all. Boys were not drinking any nectar. Of course, they were drinking nectar in the form of Krishna. They were playing with Krishna every day. In fact, Shukadeva Goswami praises the fortunes of these cowherd boys. Itham brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam satanam paradaivatena maya satanam naradarakena. So this is actually glorifying that these cowherd boys, what kind of pious activities they have done that they were able to play with Krishna. How many lifetimes pious? Of course, they were all associates of Krishna. There is no question of pious or impious activity for them. But they had complete confidence in Krishna. They walked in the mouth of Aghasur without any fear. Whereas the demigods, they were fearful. So demigods, when they saw Krishna also entered, they thought, their hopes were shattered that Krishna is going to kill Aghasur. Like in Hindi they say, Gai bhais pani mein. Krishna has come to save us. Now he's also gone in the mouth of Aghasur. So they scream, alas, alas. But at the same time, the associates of Aghasur, they became jubilant. Kamsa became very happy. Now one may think Kamsa was in Mathura, how did he become happy? But Kamsa had so many spies. As soon as Krishna entered into the mouth of Aghasur and Aghasur closed his mouth, the spy ran to Kamsa and informed him that Aghasur has finished Krishna. Krishna entered the mouth of Aghasur and Krishna is finished along with the cowherd boys. And Aghasur had thought, once Krishna and cowherd boys are killed, all the Brajavas, we don't have to kill them, they will automatically be killed. Because for parents, like children are most dear objects. If all the children are dead, how parents are going to survive? Their life will be shattered. They will be, without any enthusiasm in life. They will be dead. No. So, the demoniac associates of Aghasura and Kamsa, they all became very happy. And I don't know how many of you have actually seen when a python eats his prey. You know what python does after swallowing the whole prey? What he does? Does anyone knows? Wraps around so that, because he has swallowed the whole animal, right? Sometimes they swallow even big elephants. So elephant is such a huge creature. So what python does is coils his body so that the animal within his belly gets crushed. All the bones and everything gets crushed. So that's what Aghasura started doing. As soon as he closed his mouth, he wanted to smash all the cowherd boys and Krishna. But Krishna, he started expanding his form. And the more Krishna expanded his form, the Aghasura could feel the pain inside. He started expanding himself. And then Krishna expanded further, and then he expanded further himself. But he couldn't compete with Krishna in expansion. And Krishna, when he's expanding his form, he practically choked Aghasura. Aghasura was trying to breathe, but there was no space to even breathe. Krishna was expanding himself so big that there was no space left for breathing inside. So Aghasura started suffocating. And his life hair came out from Brahmarandra. The yogis, they actually go to forest. They learn the techniques to raise the life hair, eventually to leave their body, their life force from the Brahmarandra. That's a successful yogi. Successful yogi is one who can leave his body from Brahmarandra. Ordinary people leave their bodies from one of the 9 gates. We have 9 holes in the body, so soul leaves from one of those holes. But Aghasura's case, there was no... Krishna expanded himself so big that he had no... he couldn't breathe, and his life hair actually came out from Brahmarandra. So yogis, what they attain after thousands and thousands of years of tapasya, they learn that art of leaving the body through Brahmarandra. Aghasura attained like this. And why not? Because Parabrahma entered into his body. When Parabrahma enters into his body, leaving the body from Brahmarandra is what a big deal. So in this way, Aghasura was killed by Krishna. His life hair came out of his Brahmarandra and went in the sky and waited for some time. And when all the cowherd boys entered into the mouth of Aghasura, they immediately died because of the digestive fire of Aghasura. The python has a very powerful digestive fire, right? So all the boys and calves, they came in contact with this digestive fire, they immediately died. So when Aghasura died, Krishna simply glanced over them. He glanced over all the cowherd boys and calves, and they immediately came back to life. And since the Aghasura had actually died, his body has bursted out, all the cowherd boys and calves, they came out from the body of Aghasura. So Krishna restored the life of all the calves and cowherd boys simply by his glance. This is actually a very significant lesson also. No. When we go to temple or when we go in front of the deities, it's not that we only take their darshan. No. When we go to temple, the Lord also takes our darshan. So you shouldn't go to temple or in front of the Lord in a very shabby condition, Your clothes are crumpled, or you're sleepy, or hair are disheveled. No. When you're going in front of the Lord, you should go in a very presentable way. Nicely dressed, having tilak on your forehead. When you go in front of the Lord in that way, the Lord also takes your darshan. He feels happy. There was one Babaji in India, in Vrindavan. I'm forgetting his name. Almost 100 years back, he used to live in Vrindavan. So, he was blind. But every single day he would go to temple of Banke Bihari Ji, take darshan of the Lord. So sometimes, the young boys, they would make fun of him. Baba, why you come here? What business you have in the temple? You can't anyway take darshan of the Lord. Why you coming to temple every day? So, one day the boys were making fun of him. That why you coming every day to temple? You can't even see the Lord. So why you coming every day? So he said, well, I am blind, but Banke Bihari is not blind, no? So they said, what do you mean? He said, well, I am blind, I cannot see, but when I go in front of the Lord, Lord can see me at least, right? So I just go every day to pay attendance. The Lord, I am your insignificant servant. Here I have come today to pay attendance. So that Lord can see me every day. So when Krishna glances over us, He restores our real life. Without the glance, without the mercy of Krishna, even though we may be living, our life is as good as dead. But Krishna revives us. When we go to temple, when we be in the presence of Krishna, in the association of devotees, by the merciful glance of Krishna, everything becomes auspicious in our life. Kunti Maharani also says the same thing in her prayers. Dherante tava ikshitai. My dear Lord, everything is flourishing in this our kingdom. The rivers are producing sufficient minerals. The oceans are producing wealth. Everything is first class in our kingdom simply because you are glancing over everything. So the glance of the Lord is actually very powerful. It makes our life full of auspiciousness. When you go in front of the Lord, many times we just do pranam and get up and walk away. We don't even look at the deities. No. But even if then, when we go in front of the deities, know for sure, not only you are looking at the Lord, but the Lord also looks at you. And when He looks at us, He makes our life auspicious. He gives us strength to come out of the mouth of Aghasura. He gives us wisdom to get out of this sinful life. The life in the material existence is actually always full of sins. Knowingly or unknowingly, we end up in committing sinful activities. Without even our desire many times, we end up in some sinful, activities. But by coming in front of the Lord, by chanting His holy names, we receive the benediction, we receive the mercy of the Lord, by dint of which we can actually come out of the mouth of Agha. So this particular pastime is actually very significant in that way. That if we want our life full of auspiciousness and free from aghas, free from sins, then we should become Krishna conscious. We should chant the holy name of Krishna. We should subject ourselves to the mercy of the Lord by visiting the temple. The more you visit, the more Krishna glances on you, your life becomes full of auspiciousness. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If anyone has any questions or addition you want. Govind Priya, you want to comment? Yes. Okay. If there are no questions, then maybe we can stop here then. You have a little kirtan or 5-minute kirtan? So I finished in time, right? Huh? You can give me that. We'll just do 5 minutes kirtan. Okay. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavad Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Jai Jagannatha, Jagannatha, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Jagannatha. Jai Gauranita, 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 Jaya Gauranita. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Nitai Gaura Hari Bon, Hari Bon, Hari Bon, Nitai Gaura Hari Bon, Nitai